Welcome to the draft permit for Clean Harbors Wilmington LLC. This is the public meeting and hearing today, February 19, 2025. My name is Elsa Lopez. I'm the Public Participation Specialist with the Department of Toxic Substances Control and the Office of Environmental Equity. And I am also the Public Participation Specialist for this project. Next slide. Presentation materials in English and Spanish are available at the DTSC website. You go to our website and you select Facility Community Involvement tab. For assistance in Spanish, you may contact me, Elsa Lopez, at 818-717-6566 or my email. Para materiales de esta presentación en inglés y en español están disponibles en el sitio de web del DTSC. Seleccione la pestaña Facility Community Involvement para obtener todos los documentos. Para obtener más ayuda en español, me pueden comunicarse conmigo a mi número de teléfono 818-717-6566 o a mi email. Next slide. Public meeting instructions. If you have a question or comment, use the Q&A feature bottom of your screen, or use the raised hand function and press *9 and press *6 to unmute by phone. Do not use the chat function. We will respond during the Q&A session. We will also do it if there's questions in Spanish. Si tienen preguntas en español, lo pueden poner en el Q&A y después tendremos a alguien que lo va a interpretar. We will respond to questions during the Q&A session. We will take comments during the public hearing session of this meeting. Automated closed captions have been turned on for this meeting. You can turn them off by clicking the CC icon and move the caption box to a side. The closed captions are only in English. Next slide. Our meeting and hearing agenda. Our public meeting, I will do the introductions. A permitting overview will be done by Ramesh Kapley. Proposed permit will be Nadine Doman. I will come back and do the public involvement. Then we will have questions. We will go into a 5-minute break. And then after that, we will start the public hearing with our hearing officer, Ramesh Kapley. Then we will go into next steps and closing. Next slide. Our meeting guidelines. By participating in this meeting, you understand that this meeting is being recorded. You may be muted for background noise. During the questions and comments, we will focus on topics related to today's presentation only. Time allowed for questions and comments may be limited so that everyone can participate. Thank you for your patience and understanding. Next slide. Our project team consists of myself as the Public Participation Specialist with the Office of Environmental Equity. We have Ramesh Kapley, Acting Supervisor and DTSC Hearing Officer. We have Nadine Doman, Hazardous Substance Engineer, and is the Project Manager. Rebecca DePaul, Supervising Environmental Planner with CEQA. Jennifer Mulhall is the Public Information Officer with the Office of Communications. And we have Paulette Penton, who will be the Spanish translator for the Q&A if needed. Next slide. And now I will hand it over to Ramesh Kafle for the permitting overview.
Thank you, Elsa. Good evening, everyone. My name is Ramesh Kafle. I'm an acting supervisor in the permitting division at DTSC. I'm grateful for the opportunity to join you all today. Next slide, please. I would like to set the foundation for who we are at DTSC and why we are here. We are scientists, engineers, toxicologists, chemists, geologists, attorneys, criminal investigators, public participation specialists, environmental planner, and other staff. We are all committed to protect Californians and our environment from exposure to hazardous waste by enforcing hazardous waste laws and regulations in a way that gives those most affected by regulatory decision opportunities to voice their concerns, ask questions, and engage in the decision-making process. Next slide, please. Our mission at DTSC is to protect California's people, communities, and the environment from toxic substances. Our vision is to do all we can under our authority so that all of California can thrive in a healthy environment. It is what drives our work and our decisions. Next slide, please. The permitting division at DTSC oversees permitted hazardous waste facilities in California that treat, store, or dispose of hazardous waste. We oversee their operations and maintenance activities, such as environmental monitoring, to ensure they are being protective of human health and the environment. One of the major roles we play is to review hazardous waste permit applications that we receive. If a facility would like to treat, store, or dispose of hazardous waste, they must submit a permit application to DTSC for our review and approval. When we review the permit applications, we want to make sure the facility plans to operate in a way that protects people and the environment. The applications are not just a couple of pages or forms, but are usually volumes of binders with technical operating information that we have to review thoroughly against the law, regulations, and the standards. Next slide, please. DTSC considers a permit review process to be of 5 phases as shown in the slide. In the pre-application phase, we contact the permittee to remind them of the upcoming application due dates, present them with the cost estimate, and remind them of any regulation that may be new that the new application must include. Once an application is received, we review the application to make sure it contains all the elements required by the California regulations. Some of the applicable items include operating plan, the sampling and acceptance plan, and any monitoring requirements that permittee must complete. The California Environmental Quality Act review, also known as CEQA, and appropriate CEQA documents are prepared during the permit application review phase. If the application is complete and contains all the requirements to meet the hazardous waste control laws and is protective of human health and the environment, a draft permit decision is made. DTSC may deny a permit at this time if necessary to be protective or if the permittee fails to meet applicable laws. The draft decision will be issued and the public will be notified of the draft decision. A public review period of at least 45 days is scheduled for the public and interested parties to review the draft permit, application, and statement of basis of permit requirements. All comments received will be responded to in writing. If comments are received that require revising the decision or the draft permit, an additional 15-day comment period will be held after the revised decision is posted. After public review and the responses to comments are issued, a final permit decision is made. There is an appeal process that may be utilized when needed. Next slide, please. In addition to the review of permit application, DTSC also conducts an environmental impact analysis and prepares an environmental document for the project as required by CEQA. For permit renewals, the environmental reviews are conducted based on the scope of the permit and the impacts on the environment. Those review assesses the previously prepared documents and whether the scope of the project has changed. If there is no significant changes to the facility or its operation, no further CEQA document is required. If there are substantial changes in the project or in the requirements of CEQA, either an addendum to the previous document or another appropriate document is prepared. Next slide, please. To comply with the CEQA requirements for this permit, DTSC completed tasks shown in the slide. In 1995, DTSC received an environmental impact report, which was reviewed and circulated for comment prior to approval. In 2011, DTSC approved the notice of exemption for the permit renewal. In 2025, DTSC reviewed and analyzed the previously approved CEQA documents, those are environmental impact reports and the notice of exemptions, and determined that the appropriate CEQA documents for this permit renewal project with no significant changes would be an addendum to the previously adopted environmental impact report. The proposed project of permit renewal will not create any significant environmental effects that are not previously analyzed. DTSC is in legal compliance with CEQA. Next slide, please. Upon issuing a draft permit, we want to hear what matters to you. A public comment period of minimum 45 days is established. A public meeting and hearing may be conducted during the public comment period. Hence, we are here in the 48 days public comment period. And that's why we are here today. Right now, we have issued a draft permit. It is not final. As for the public comment period for the draft permit decision, it started on January 15 of 2025 and will end on March 4 of 2025. Next slide, please. Interested parties have the opportunity to review the draft permit, application, and the statement of basis of permit requirements. All comments received in the hearing today and sent by mail will be responded to in writing. Next slide, please. Based on the comments received during the public comment period, DTSC may choose one of the three paths. First is to issue the draft permit as proposed. Second path may be to issue it with modifications. Or the third path is to deny the permit if there is sufficient evidence and good cause to believe that the facility operation will pose threats to human health and/or the environment. Once issued, the permit allows permittee to operate for 10 years, but during the life of the permit, DTSC can modify the permit at any time if necessary. Next slide, please. Once a final decision is reached on this permit, a notice of final permit decision is sent to all persons on our mailing list. In addition, a copy of the written response to comments will be mailed to everyone who submitted written or verbal comments. We'll also place the notice of final permit decision and response to comment documents on DTSC's InvariStore website. Next slide, please. Once the final decision has been issued, It can be appealed anytime in the 30 days following. All appeals will be sent to the Board of Environmental Safety for their consideration. The instruction for the appeal process will be contained in the notice of decision. Thank you for listening to the overview of the permitting process. Next on agenda, Nadine Doman will talk about the site and the permit. Next slide, please.
Thank you, Ramesh. Good evening, everyone. My name is Nadine Doman, and I have been with DTSC's Permitting Division since 2014. As a hazardous substances engineer, I am the project manager assigned to Clean Harbors Wilmington's permit renewal. Next slide, please. Here is a brief overview of what I will be covering in this segment. I will be discussing the facility location and description, as well as the facility's permitting history. Then I will go over their current operations, existing hazardous waste management units, and proposed hazardous waste management units. Lastly, I will discuss some important highlights of the draft permit. Next slide, please. The Clean Harbors Wilmington facility is located at 1737 East Denny Street in Wilmington. It is approximately 1,000 feet west from the Dominguez Channel, 700 feet east from Alameda Street, and 1/3 mile south of Pacific Coast Highway. Next slide, please. Here is an aerial view of this facility. It is located on approximately 2 acres of land, as shown in the highlighted yellow region. The area surrounding the facility is zoned for heavy industrial use. Next slide, please. As for the facility's permitting history, the facility, which was formerly known as ChemStar, was granted an interim status document in 1983. In 1995, DTSC issued a hazardous waste facility permit to the permittee. The RCRA equivalent permit was renewed by DTSC in September of 2011. About 10 years later, a permit renewal application was submitted to DTSC in March 2021, for which a draft permit has been prepared, and we are here tonight to conduct a public meeting and a hearing. Next slide, please. Clean Harbors Wilmington is currently authorized to conduct loading and unloading, storage and treatment in tanks, storage and treatment in containers, treatment in miscellaneous units, and management of universal wastes like fluorescent lamps and batteries. Next slide, please. Now I will go over the permitted hazardous waste management units. The first unit is called the Container Storage Warehouse, which is authorized for receiving, sampling, storing, and consolidating containerized hazardous waste. The Container Storage Warehouse has designated areas for container storage in areas A, D, E, F, G, and H. The maximum storage capacity is 99,880 gallons or 1,816 drums of 55 gallons each. Area B is where hazardous waste is pumped from containers into larger containers or tanks. Area C is the truck unloading or loading dock. Treatment in containers is limited to pH adjustment, solidification, fixation, and/or consolidation. This unit is subject to the air emission requirements of Article 28.5. Next slide, please. Next is the permitted unit 2, which is the roll-off bin storage area, in which Clean Harbors Wilmington is authorized to store and treat hazardous waste in roll-off bins. This unit has a maximum storage capacity of 24,240 gallons, or 3 roll-off bins that are 40 cubic yards each. This unit is also permitted to manage waste types such as filter cake, sludge, or soil. It is subject to the air emission requirements of Article 28.5. Next slide, please. Next is the permitted unit 3, which is the 200 series storage blending tanks, in which Clean Harbors Wilmington is authorized to store and treat hazardous waste in tanks. This unit has 6 tanks with a maximum combined storage capacity of 85,750 gallons. The waste types stored in these tanks include used oil, waste oil, oil-water mixtures, non-ignitable or non-reactive oily waste. It is subject to the air emission standards of Article 28.5. Next slide, please. Next is the permitted unit 4, which is the 300 series storage blending tanks, in which Clean Harbors Wilmington is authorized to store and treat hazardous waste in tanks. This unit has 3 tanks with a maximum combined storage capacity of 59,000 gallons. The waste types stored in these tanks include used oil, waste oil, oil-water mixtures, non-ignitable or non-reactive oily waste. It is subject to the air emission standards of Article 28.5. Next slide, please. Next is the permitted unit 5, which is the truck unloading screen that has a maximum treatment capacity of 3,300 gallons. The screen removes large solids in the hazardous waste pumped from the tanker truck into a storage tank. The waste types treated by this equipment include used oil, waste oil, and oil-water mixtures. It is subject to the air emission standards of Article 28.5. Next slide, please. In this slide, you will see the proposed Hazardous Waste Management Unit 6, which will be a rail car transfer facility. A maximum of 2 rail cars of 29,900 gallons each will be able to fit on the rail spur. The maximum storage capacity for this unit will be 59,800 gallons. The rail cars will be authorized to store used oil, waste oil, oil-water mixtures, non-ignitable or non-reactive oily waste. The waste entering the rail cars will be from tanker trucks or vacuum trucks with hazardous waste from the 200 and 300 series storage blending tanks. Next slide, please. I would like to discuss the draft permit highlights. The RCRA equivalent permit will allow Clean Harbors Wilmington to continue operations for another 10 years. This permit includes 5 existing permitted units and 1 proposed unit discussed earlier in this presentation. As for financial responsibility and assurance of the permittee, the total closure cost estimate of $2,306,660 in 2024 dollars has been approved, which is a significant increase and improvement from the previous approved $1.9 million in 2020 dollars. Last but not least, this permit includes a total of 47 special conditions, 26 of which are unit specific and 21 are facility-wide special conditions. resulting in an enhanced permit that provides more checks and verification points to ensure safe, protective, and accountable operations. And with that, I will hand it back over to Elsa Lopez, who will facilitate the questions and answer session of this presentation. Next slide, please.
Thank you, Nadine. So now we will start our questions and answers. I'll give you the instructions once more. For Zoom audio, use the raised hand feature and you will be invited to unmute your audio when it is your turn. If you are on the phone, you will press *9 to join the phone queue. The facilitator will say the last 3 digits of your phone number when it is your turn. Then you will press *6 to unmute. If you would like, you could text your questions. Use the Q&A feature to have your question read by the facilitator. We will listen carefully and do our best to answer your questions in this section. Answers will not appear in the response to comments documents. If you want a written response to your comments, you must make it later during the hearing. So now we will start. If anyone has a question that would like to address it verbally, you could raise your hand. If not, you could type it in the Q&A. And I'll give you a few minutes if you need to type it in, or if anyone would like to ask the question verbally, we could do that too. I'll give you a minute to put in your questions if you have any. So now I don't see any questions in the Q&A, and I don't see anyone raising their hand. We'll allow another minute if you're getting your thoughts together so that you can actually either type in your question or you decide to raise your hand and ask it verbally. Okay. See any questions? If we could go to the next slide. We will have a 5-minute break. We'll come back at 6:36 and we will continue with the hearing portion of this meeting. Okay, we could have the next slide. We will now start our hearing and welcome back our hearing officer, Ramesh Kafle.
Thank you, Elsa. Good evening. Again, my name is Ramesh Kafle. I'm the hearing officer for DTSC's hearing for the Clean Harbors Wilmington LLC Draft Hazardous Waste Facility Permit. Thank you for attending our public hearing. For the record, it is February 19 at 6:36 p.m. This hearing is the part of a public comment period for the draft permit that began on January 15 of 2025 and will conclude on March 4 of 2025. As mentioned earlier, DTSC will be accepting written comments during the comment period and will accept written and verbal comments at tonight's meeting and hearing. During this hearing, DTSC will receive verbal comments on the draft permit and the permit application. We are recording this hearing and the comments for the record. We'll not be responding to the verbal comments at this hearing, but we will consider them when making the permit decision. And we'll also prepare written responses to the comments, which we will provide to the commenters and the applicant when we issue the permit decision. When making a comment, please speak loudly and clearly, and be sure to state and spell your name. If you wish to receive a copy of the responses to the comments, please make sure to provide your name and address or email address during your comment. To ensure that everyone who wishes to make a comment has an opportunity to speak, I request that commenters hold their comments to 3 minutes. If there is additional time remaining during the comment portion of the hearing, we'll allow commenters to make additional comments. Ms. Lopez, will you please explain the instruction and process for public hearing? Next slide, please.
Thank you, Ramesh. So for the public hearing comments, the instructions are: for Zoom audio, use the raised hand feature and you will be invited to unmute your audio when it is your turn. If you're on the phone, you press *9 to join the phone queue. The facilitator will say the last 3 digits of your phone number when it is your turn. Then you will press 6 to unmute your line. If you'd rather have it text, use the Q&A feature to make your comment read by the facilitator.
Thank you, Ms. Lopez. May I have the first comment, please? Hearing no comments, the public hearing portion of the meeting is now closed as of 6:40 p.m., February 19, 2025. Now I hand it over to Ms. Elsa Lopez for further information.
Next slide. How you can submit a public comment. If you did not submit a comment during this hearing verbally or using the Q&A function, you may submit a written comment as follows. By mail, mail it to Nadine Doman, the project manager, at the DTSC Chatsworth Regional Office at 9211 Oakdale Avenue, Chatsworth, California, 91311, or by email. All comments must be received by midnight of March 4th, 2025. Next slide. Just as a reminder, the comment period started on January 15th, 2025 and goes through March 4th, 2025. Information regarding DTSC, the Clean Harbors Wilmington facility, the draft permit, and the permit application can be found at the information repositories at the Wilmington Library at 13 North Avalon Avenue in Wilmington, California, 90744. You can call them for their hours, or you could get a chance to see it also at the Chatsworth Regional Office at 9211 Oakdale Avenue, Chatsworth, California, 91311. You must call to make an appointment. You can also find it in the Electronic Information Repository and EnviroStore. The ID number is here below. Or you could click on the link below for it. Next slide. We would like to thank you all on behalf of DTSC for joining us today on your busy schedules. Please stay safe and be well. this meeting and hearing has concluded. Thank you so much.